Hello once again, and welcome back to the Church of Christ of Lake County Facebook page. We will be uh, studying another daily post in Proverbs. Today we're in Proverbs chapter 14. It's February the 14th, and we're wanting to read just the first section of this proverb and just view the positive statement and not deal with the negative till a later date, because as today is February the 14th, Valentine's Day, then we are wanting to take this opportunity to give a word of thanks and honor to those wise women that are involved in our lives and that are throughout the brotherhood and the Lord's church, to make sure that they are being properly appreciated. And so verse 1 says, "Every wise woman buildeth her house." When we're considering what the Bible has to say about women, and throughout the religious world, many view Christianity and the Bible to be derogatory towards women or suppressive, but the opposite is truly the case, and as clearly as can be seen from this proverb and other proverbs that we're going to look at very quickly. Wise women are to be honored. Wise women are to be praised, and there's a great deal of thanks to be given towards these types of women. I mean, after all, if it was not for good women, where would any of us men even be, for that matter? And even Paul addresses that when he is discussing with the Corinthian brethren, and he brings up in 1 Corinthians 11 and verse 11 beginning, "Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man in the Lord. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of God." Though there is an established order inside of the church and even inside of the home, that the man is the head of the home, the man is the head of the woman, the man is to recognize that he has a head above him, which is Christ. And so, as a man, I do not want my head to abuse or mistreat me. With that realization, how then do I need to treat the woman, as with the man being her head? I do not need to abuse or mistreat the woman in any way, shape, or form. And even we consider from the standpoint of with us husbands, husbands, where would we be without our wives? Oftentimes the joke can be made amongst husbands and wives. The wives will, the husbands will do something foolish, and the wives will have to come along and clean it up, and they would say, where you just be helpless without me. Well, to a large degree, overall that would be true, because in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18, when God is involved in creating all things, and it comes time to have the earth be in a fulfilled state, the Lord God said, "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him an help meet for him." Where would we be without wise women? Men, we would be helpless. God is pretty much saying it for us, that we are in fact needing a helper so as to go along through this life and be able to make it. In Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 22, the proverb writer will say later, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord." It's a great blessing to have wise women involved in our lives. In Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 14, again the proverb writer will say, house and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord." Now, this word prudent carries with the definition of being full of wisdom, being very wise, being intelligent. Again, throughout the Bible, women are viewed as being full of wisdom. They're viewed as being intelligent, being prudent, being circumspect, being watchful, mindful. And these are things that we're needing good women for. It says that wise women they're building these houses. Just consider, just again, men, what would our house be without a wise woman inside of it? Houses would just be places of dwelling, but with a wise woman, they make houses, they make it a home. When it says here that she buildeth her house, of course, we're looking at that from the standpoint of she makes it a home. She fills it with the things that make the dwelling place comfortable. But in the Hebrew language, this actually has connection as well, that has connection with childbearing. So it's the idea that she's not only building up, the physical elements of the home, but it's also connected with the idea that she is filling the home with the joy and the laughter of children. So wise women and they've helped to produce some of the greatest men that the kingdom, the Lord's church, has ever known. I mean, you just take, for example, just a few in Luke chapter 1, verses 5 through 6. You look at the parents of John the Immerser, the baptizer. There was, in the days of Herod, the king of Judah, a certain priest named Zacharias, in the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth, and they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. Notice it does not just give Zacharias the credit as being righteous before God. It says they both were righteous before God. So Elizabeth is right there involved, is getting credit for this righteousness that's going to help to develop and produce the forerunner of the Christ. And we just take into consideration also the mother of Jesus in Luke chapter 2 and verse 19. We read a moment ago in Proverbs chapter 19, a prudent wife, an intelligent wife. We'll notice this about Mary. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. These things that the shepherds are coming and telling them and telling all the people of how they came about to find this child. It says here that Mary is pondering on these things, and she pondered them in her heart. And notice again also in verse 51 how you're going to have a similar thing being said again about Mary. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject unto him. But notice this, but his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. There is a wise woman, a prudent woman, intelligent woman. She's noticing these things, and she's laying them up inside of her heart. Now, of course, two of the famous women that helped to produce one of the greatest helpers that the Apostle Paul had during his ministry, Timothy. Notice what's said here. When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that in thee also. What was it that produced the type of faith, the unfeigned faith inside of Timothy? Well, it's not a what, but in fact it is a who. These wise women, grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice. Wise women building up their houses. Today, and hopefully every day, we will do our very best to show our love, appreciation, gratitude, honor towards the wise women that are involved in our lives, that are involved in the affairs of the church. You can read Romans chapter 16 when Paul writes to those brethren. He has a long list of individuals that he is giving thanks to that are involved in the affairs of the kingdom and building up the church. And a majority of those that he is thankful for are going to be women. We need to make sure that we are also involved in giving proper honor and encouragement to the wise women that are involved in building up their houses, but not only building up their houses, but also seeing to the affairs of the kingdom. So we thank you once again for coming over to our Facebook page. If you enjoy this information, please be sure to leave a like and to share it with others that you would like to have join us on these daily posts in Proverbs. And if you have any questions or comments, then please leave those down below in the comments section. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll be looking for you next time.